Hi everyone, my name is Morgan. For those of you who don't know me, I am a star consultant with Scentsy, and tonight I am going to talk to you guys about goal setting, about visions, about dreams, about motivations, wants. I'm going to try to cover it really quick because I know that sometimes if a video drags out, you tend to lose interest. So I'm going to try to keep it short for you. But please, I hope that you join and watch this whole thing and that you get something out of it. This isn't just going to be related to Scentsy. It's going to be related to life in general, other sales, other jobs, anything. I hope that anyone can find something out of this video. So I wanted to start with the story that I heard. It was probably a few years back, and I do want to read the story just so that I don't miss any parts of it. So bear with me for a second while I read you this short story to start out with. So some of you may have heard it, some of you may have not. It's about an elephant and a rope. So a guy is walking past an elephant that is tied to a stake with a small rope. The man is amazed that the elephant, in all of its strength and power, does not break the rope and escape his confinement. So, in his curiosity, he asks the elephant trainer how that thin rope manages to keep such a huge animal in place. The trainer explains that when the elephant was a baby, the rope was used to tie him. As a baby, the elephant couldn't physically break the rope and had been forever conditioned in his mind that the rope was stronger than he was. So even though the elephant had grown much stronger and more capable of escape, his mindset kept him believing that he could not. This is called the elephant mindset. So for those of you who have never heard that story, it's one of my favorites. This baby elephant has the mindset and is so trained that he can't break away from this rope that he hasn't even tried now that he's big. They're so conditioned to something that happened before, to something from the past, that they are afraid to step out and do something new. So, I mean, it's funny how our minds think sometimes that despite where we're at now, we often let failures or shortcomings from the past dictate what we do today and keep us convinced that something can't be done. And that's not true. It's not true at all. That's an elephant mindset. So over and over, I see people tell themselves, sorry if you see me looking away, I have some notes on the computer. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. So, so many times people say that this isn't going to work for them, or that, they have this in their way, or that this barrier, or they can't, sell this much because they don't know that many people. Well, you're going to have to step out of your box and you're going to have to meet some people. Sorry, but that's the way it is. So it's, in most cases, I won't say in all cases, in most cases, it's not that it can't be done. It's a matter of timing and of motivation. So, in my own life, I do constantly battle these thoughts and fears in order to move forward and grow. Everyone has them. Everyone's going to have fears. Your brain is trained to protect you from things that you don't know that might be scary. If you hesitate, your brain's going to protect you and say, no, that's scary. I don't want to try that. So, we have to learn our own limits, and then we have to learn how to go past our own limits. So this elephant mindset that you can't do things from the past, you have to change that. You have to change the way you think. The other thing that I love to talk about is Walt Disney. So I'm sure that, everyone knows who Walt Disney is. And sometimes we can't deny the fact that it feels like things aren't working out how we want to. Walt Disney had this issue. He felt like the whole universe was against him, that his life was a complete mess, that his only wish was to experience more success. Life wasn't easy for Walt Disney, but look at where Walt Disney is now. Look at where Disney is now, I should say. Walt Disney experienced so many failures, but it didn't tempt him to give up. So I think there was a quote here. He was fired from a newspaper editor. Walt Disney was fired from somewhere, yes. According to his boss, he lacked imagination. Walt Disney lacks imagination? That's someone's opinion, okay? It's someone's opinion. He didn't let that opinion stop him. They told him that his ideas were no good. Like, are you kidding me? Disney movies? I love those. Have you seen those? They're awesome. he tried to start a business and he failed. He went bankrupt. He tried and tried and tried. He never gave up. You know, he managed to then go on and win, it says, 22 Academy Awards, established the first Disneyland in California around 1955. The Walt Disney Company takes in billions of dollars annually from movies, theme parks, and merchandise around the world. So if Walt Disney can do it, anyone can do it, right? I know that's a lot easier to hear than to actually take it in and think about it. But I'm just trying to show you guys that even someone as successful as Walt Disney had failures in their life. He was told no so many times. He was fired. They told him he wasn't creative. They told him his ideas weren't good. But he kept going. He kept trying. And he finally did succeed. You have to stick with something. You can't just give up when it gets hard. You have to keep going. You have to shake off your problems. You know, everyone has some sort of a story. I mean, just that elephant story, it really gets me. I love it. It gets me going. I have been asked a lot, you know, what I did or what I did differently to go from this to this the last few months with my sales. And I think it's all my positive mindset. You know, I can't tell you specifics of what I do because what I do might not work for someone else. There's a lot of different things that I've been doing to work on myself, to work on my business, to go and work on different things. Sorry, this is really bright, so we're going to try to just scoot it over a little. There's a lot of different things, but I truly believe positivity has a lot to do with how well you succeed. Positivity brings positivity. Negativity brings negativity. I fully believe that. You may or may not agree, but I completely believe that with my full heart. So there's a few steps that I want to talk about, but, you know, as far as motivation, but I also wanted to cover a few other things before we did talk about that. So as far as Scentsy goes, I want you guys to take a second and say to yourself, write down on a piece of paper, get out a sheet of paper and a pen, and write down what you would do with an extra $500 this month. Write it down. Whatever it is, write it down. Whatever you would do with an extra $500. Maybe you'd go school shopping for your kids. Maybe you'd buy Christmas gifts. Maybe you'd pay off your car payment. Maybe you'd pay off a house payment. Maybe you would pay off some bills. Maybe you'd be able to pay off some more of your credit card. Maybe you just want to go shopping and get some stuff for yourself. But what would an extra $500 do for you this month? Would you use your time differently? I don't know. Maybe it's going to be something different for every single person, but please write that down, what you would do with it. You know, there's, so I'm trying to wrap this all into one thing. It's going to be really difficult because I have a lot of different things I want to say. So you first have to identify the goal. Okay. So what's your goal? What's your why? I talk about what your why is a lot with my team. You have to talk about what your why is. You have to decide if it's worth working for and what motivates you to succeed. So for me, when I first joined Scentsy, I didn't have a motivation. I didn't have a goal. I didn't really think it could be anything. So I didn't really try. And a few months in, I really started to realize, okay, this can make me some money. I can do this with it. I can make friends. I can have fun. This is something for me outside of my regular job that I just enjoy doing. So my dog is outside howling. I don't know if you guys just heard him in the background. He's howling at a fire truck. It's a husky, so he's a howler. But you first have to identify what your goal is and what your why is. My why has now changed, and my why, you know, for some people it's that they want to motivate, or they want to, you know, they want to get a new promotion. They want to have a new title. So right now I'm a star consultant. You know, for some people they'd say, oh, I really want to get to superstar. That doesn't really motivate me. What does is that I can earn a free trip to the Mediterranean in June for 2 people. I can take myself and my boyfriend to the Mediterranean for 7 days completely paid for. You know what else motivates me? The fact that with my side money, because I do this on the side of a regular job, I can pay my rent. I can pay my car payment. I can pay my credit cards. I can pay my bills. I can go shopping. That's what motivates me. So you have to kind of really dig in and find what motivates you and why you want to succeed, or what would make you happy, what would motivate you to succeed. So really just think about that too. Maybe it is that extra $500 a month or $1,000 a month. And then the second thing I want you to do is to write down the steps that are required to reach that goal. So you have to, with each step, evaluate the work, what you have to do, the time it's going to take you to do that, and the effort that's going to be involved to do that. So every month I have a whiteboard next to my Scentsy table. Can't see it right now, but I have a whiteboard next to my Scentsy table. I also have a whiteboard at work where I also write down my goals. So I also have a picture of the cruise ship that Scentsy is taking us on as the backdrop on my computer and my phone, just for a little added motivation. I have it as the backdrop on my computer at work. I also write down my goals every month. So I will write October monthly goals. I will write down what my PRV goal is. I will write down what my recruiting goal is. I will write down what that PRV breaks into per day, because for me that's an easier way to look at it. So I look at the different steps, and then I write down what I'm going to have to do to get this PRV. Okay, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to talk to people. I'm going to have to get myself out there, right? So those are just a few examples. Number 3 would be to write down any boundaries or obstacles to that goal. So you have to include your own fears, your past failures in this list, as well as external obstacles. So going along with this, you have to be able to look at yourself and say, this isn't working. I need to do something different because this isn't working. So I need to try something different. You have to be able to admit that to yourself. You have to be able to think, okay, what I'm doing now isn't working, so I need to do something else. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it clearly has not worked, some tough love, but you're gonna have to realize that you're going to need to do something else. It's not gonna work. So try something different. Step out of that box. Do something different with it. You have to be able to look at yourself and be honest with yourself. I don't want excuses. I don't want to hear why you can't do it. These are your obstacles, but you have to get over them. There's no excuse. Don't say you don't have time. We're all busy. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's just how you use it. So maybe don't sit down and watch TV at night. Work on your business. Maybe don't go out to eat with your friends one night and go to the gym if you want to get in shape. Maybe, you want to set up another party. Okay, so call some friends. Spend 15 minutes calling some friends, asking if they would host a party for you. Go to a neighbor's house. Ask them if you know your neighbors. You're going to have to, there's no excuses. There's no excuses. We make time for what we want to make time for. That's all there is to it. We make time for what we want to make time for. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. The exact same 24 hours in a day. It's how you use it. It's exactly how you use it. So along with that too, you have to want something so bad that you can't stop, that you won't stop. And I think that's another thing that's changed personally in me, is that I was like, oh wow, I want to go on this cruise for free. So I can't stop. My brain won't let me stop. I won't stop. I know that every month I have to sell a certain number, or I'm not going on that boat. I know that in my head. I know that. So you have to keep going. You have to want it so bad. Then the motivation will just come to you naturally, because you'll have a reason. You'll have a why. You'll have a goal. So now you've written down your obstacles. You've written down your boundaries. You have to evaluate these boundaries. This is number 4. You have to evaluate these boundaries and obstacles to decide what is actually legitimate. All right. Some of you might have a list of like 30 obstacles. I don't have enough time. I have to go to work. I have to do this. Well, this person isn't supportive of me. Well, I don't have enough friends, blah, blah, blah. Okay, how many of those excuses or obstacles are actually legitimate excuses? and how many of them are just in your mind? How many of those excuses are just up here? Okay, so you don't have that many friends. Neither do I. You know what? You go out and you make some friends. Oh, well, I'm too shy. Okay, well, step out of your box. Have one of your current friends go with you. Go with one of your current friends with all of their friends, and guess what? You just made 5 new friends that night. So then you have to create an action plan and get started. Number 5, create an action plan and get started. That's along with that goal setting. So to take your first step in the direction of your goal and get the ball rolling, you have to write down your goals. I cannot stress that enough. You have to write down your goals. You have to physically be able to look at your goals and physically be able to see what your goals are so you can then reach for them. You have to be able to know what your goals are. You have to know your why you're doing this, why you want to do this, what would make a difference in your life. You have to know that, and you have to be able to write down your goals and steps on how to get there. Overcome those obstacles. I know you can. Because I've done it. I've overcome those obstacles. So just to recap those 5 things that I talked about. 1, identify the goal. 2, write down steps required to reach that goal. 3, write down any boundaries or obstacles to that goal. 4, evaluate these boundaries and obstacles to decide what is actually legitimate. And number 5, create an action plan to get started. Okay. So, some other obstacles or barriers that people might think are mental barriers. And mental barriers, what I would say a mental barrier is limiting your own belief and assumption, I did write this down, that we have about ourselves in regards to our ability, our potential, or our self-worth. Mental barriers keep us from doing something or acting on something, for asking for a promotion or for going and getting a promotion, for public speaking, for meeting new people, for losing weight, for, whatever that might be, for going on a trip. There's always that denial that people have, and you can't have that denial. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you? Honestly, if you can't even believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you? Your family might, but if they say, if they see that you don't believe in yourself, then it's going to be hard for them too. You have to be the first person to believe in yourself. You have to want it. You have to know that you can do it. I cannot stress that enough, is the power of positivity. Positivity. I cannot stress that enough. So to break down those mental barriers, again, I know that I keep going over this, but you have to think about what you're afraid of. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of rejection? Are you afraid of people telling you no? That's the worst that can happen, is that they can say no, right? So it's often just an excuse. It's not an actual reason, or who told you that? Who made you believe that mental barrier that you have in your own head? And why is it a bad thing? Why are you thinking that barrier is a bad thing? What steps or what made you think to get here that this is bad? Maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's a good thing. It's just, I don't know. Time's not an excuse. We all have the same time, as I said. You have to set those goals. You have to figure out why you do what you do. Why you're doing what you're doing. So please just think about that. Write down your why. Write down those barriers and how to get over them. Write down the steps to get to your goals. Write down your goals. Write them everywhere so you can see it. Have your alarm go off every morning and tell you what your goals are. I don't care how you have to do it, but just do it. Write down your goals. Write down why. Figure out your own motivation. Everyone's going to have different motivation. So please, I cannot stress it enough. Figure out your why. That is what has made the biggest difference for me is figuring out what motivates me and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then figuring out how to get there, writing those steps down, physically coming up with a way to get over things, to make things happen. I promise you it's going to make the biggest difference. Always keep a smile on your face. Even if you're sad, keep a smile on your face. That's going to change the way you look at things a lot too. It's going to make you feel better about yourself. It's going to make you, want to do good. It's going to make you feel good. So I know this has gotten a little bit longer than I wanted to do it, but keep in mind that elephant in the rope, that elephant mindset. Don't have an elephant mindset. Whatever held you back in the past doesn't need to hold you back now. You can change it. You will change it. I know you will. So everyone, thanks for watching, and I will see you all next Wednesday. Bye.